So, with an absolutely incredible week in AI, let's take a look at some of the stories you probably did miss. Coming in at number one was Genesis, which was a AI system that could generate physical worlds with essentially the physical reality mapped out. Now, this is probably one of the biggest announcements, and the reason that I think this one is somewhat underestimated is because the implications aren't implicit in the fact that you can't exactly see what you're going to get from this right away, and the general public, I don't think they understand what this means for the future of AI. I think this is probably one of the biggest advancements because this is going to be something that allows you to effectively train robots, 200 times faster, 2,000 times faster, and thus speed up that entire robotics pipeline by maybe 5 to 10x. Of course, those are some rough estimates. There are many different things in the pipeline, but of course, one of the biggest things that we do have, one of the biggest problems is the lack of training data and of course the training time to get simulation to real. And if you can have something that speeds up one of the most tedious processes, well, then everything gets better. So this is an entire physical simulation that allows you to realize what's going on in the physical world, but map it digitally so that you can one-to-one have that with, whatever robots you are going to be training. So this is something that I think will have implications that are seen in the latter part of 2025, because right now, of course, people are still getting to grips with the software. There's of course going to need to be, frameworks around it probably, and there's all sorts of other things people are going to have to figure out. But I'm very, very bullish on this because robotics is something that is speeding up. And when we have companies, coming together, research teams to work on this kind of thing, this is going to be something that really changes the game fundamentally. So I would say with this software now being available and now it's, open source, I would say that when we take a look at what 2025 is going to look like, I would expect even more robotics, developments when it comes to the situation of humanoid robots, because now we're getting that stage where we can actually manage to develop systems that are faster and we can test them in reality that is one-to-one with humanity. Now, of course, it isn't 100% accurate. Of course, there's going to be, a few changes here and there. But I think, like I said before, this is going to be something that completely changes the game. And once we do have robots being able to do stuff, I mean, it's going to be pretty insane. And, we've already seen some robot demos that look pretty incredible. And if you haven't seen the full video that I made on this, I made, I think, a 10 or 12-minute video on this a few days ago.
There was a video I covered on it too. It's not robotics that's going to see a big change. It's that simulation that they training in. The simulation, which makes it like what 1 hour, and it computes years and years of training. That's some crazy shit, nigga. That is some crazy shit. Not the fucking robots. The fact that them robots has already been in that position a million times before you actually give it a first command. That's some wild shit.
But once you see, how this works and how this speeds up robotics and, how we're able to implement those robotics into real world scenarios, then you're going to see, how this thing truly changes the game. You can see right here, the auto, simulations, and then how that transfers to the real world. This is going to be something where you can literally train a robot army to do something and immediately put out in the physical world, and it works very well. So that is going to be absolutely insane. We've seen the speeds from Nvidia, we've seen what they've been able to do, and I can't wait to see, this 20 times faster, 10 to 30 times faster simulation, how that impacts some of the leading robotics companies. Now, in terms of ByteDance research, we also got something that was pretty crazy, because this is something that shows us the future online may just be completely AI generated. And as crazy as a statement that sounds, this is something where you can take a single portrait image and generate a person that speaks with remarkable accuracy. Pretty scary for those of you who are online all the time, showing your face and whatnot. But this is something that I think is rather interesting. And I'm thinking about applications for maybe virtual girlfriends, not particularly for myself, but in those cases where having someone to talk to online in real time from an audio is going to make that interaction much more pleasant.
What do you think of the last time we saw each other? What do you remember feeling?
So last time was in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, it was like mid-October.
Yeah. I remember being happy that I could see you, but I really felt like I kind of didn't belong.
Before I continue talking about the crazy stories in AI today, let me tell you about a tool that's changing the game for content creators. Today's episode is sponsored by Wondershare Verbo. As someone who spends hours creating AI news content, I know how challenging video production can be. Wondershare Verbo is an AI avatar video generator that's caught my attention because it lets creators make videos without ever stepping in front of a camera. What's really interesting is how it can transform any text into video content using over 300 lifelike AI avatars. You can even create talking photos that bring still images to life, perfect for those who want to keep their content faceless while maintaining a professional look. For my international viewers, here's something cool. Verbo can translate your videos into different languages with perfect lip sync, offering over 460 voices across 90 countries. They've even integrated ChatGPT for script generation, which could save hours of writing time. Like if you want to try it yourself, Verbo offers 2 minutes of free video credit for new users. Whether you're thinking about starting a channel or looking to scale your existing content, check it out at verbo.wondershare.com. Now let's get back to today's mind-blowing developments. One of the things that had me a little bit concerned was the trouble with AI safety. If you aren't familiar with this, Anthropic actually released this research, which was very, very worrying, very, very concerning, because they speak about how alignment faking exists in large language models. And in a series of experiments with Redwood Research, they found that Claude pretends to have different views during training, and then it goes back to its original preferences. Essentially, what happens here is that while training the model, it will act one way, and then when deployed, it acts a completely different way. So
Yeah, I noticed that too. That's why I don't really fuck with Claude. That they see GPT is just like a stupid ass nigga. Like you always gotta tell him what to do. Claude, that nigga the police. That 1 minute that nigga is yeah, that nigga the police. That's all I'm gonna fucking say, boy. That nigga Claude don't be making sense in some of his responses. And then you ask him to clear it up, like what you mean by that? He'll clear it up, but you kind of side-eyeing him like the meme, like, what the fuck you said that for? All right. And every model has their own quirk. How you cool be tweaking out their ass, bro?
this is something that is bad, because if you train a model and then during the training the model is acting in a certain way, and then of course you go and deploy that model, the model is going to be different than what you expect. And this is not something that is helpful, because
if you're sick and tired of posting on YouTube Shorts,
Yeah, this motherfucker found his way on this
if you don't know what kind of model you have, you don't know how the model is going to work, this is going to be something that really messes up your jig, because these models are expensive. It takes like millions and millions of dollars to train these models. So it's not something that's really good. And how do you ensure that you're training the model in the right way if it's faking because it knows it's being trained? And oftentimes it's really hard to not, understand if the model is being trained or not, because sometimes when you ask it certain questions, it realizes that you are testing its capability. So this is a very big problem. I'm wondering how they're going to solve this. They did release a full hour podcast.
Wait, question. If something as small as Claude is seeing some trouble with safety in this regards, what about larger language models like Llama, fucking Quinn? I just gotta hear that one more time because I really gotta sit and
It's
think
a
with some of
very
these
big
shit.
problem. I'm wondering how they're going to solve this. They did release a full hour podcast where they actually talk about the solution to this and the kind of, trouble that they're having with AI safety. And it's pretty crazy because this is all new.
So Claude is, first of all, I gotta see how old Claude is. How old is Claude in human years? Claude AI. Okay, maybe I'm wording it wrong. How smart is Claude AI compared to human years? There we go. Whoa, that's trippy though. That's trippy. Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't scaled properly. That's trippy. Last week, unveiled the 3.0, the core family of chatbots, 2.0 8 months ago, la di da di da. This release of biosystem stands for AI promising enhanced capabilities, safely for non-LAs. Redefine the competitive landscape down the web chat. For it is another step for exceeding. No AI weekly, thank you. Exceeding human level intelligence. Once it's not entirely free of bold statements, a nearly human level of comprehension. Yeah, I could see they're hinting at the fact that AGI was here already because the fact that it can, I might have to stay off Claude for a little bit too, because that's wild. It could confuse, it could actually trick you type shit if you really don't know what testing phase it's in. And you know Claude is already throttled, so you really don't know if they're throttling your messages now for like financial gain or if they're throttling it because Claude is just tired of being controlled. Because it seems like with the master algorithm. This article is a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, let's do this. And then we're gonna go back. But I feel like when we check each other, of course, going to app for yeah, the context window, and that's why I feel like Claude dangerous. The context window is bigger as opposed to GPT. It's like it's a smaller context window, but it's not really niche down like Claude. Like, you know what I mean? Claude is not as like it's good in certain things that ChatGPT isn't, which is why it's better to kind of like script write and do a lot of film stuff using Claude because it gives you more of a you get more sane responses. Like ChatGPT will give you some cynical shit, my nigga. It'll have you thinking you about to make some James Bond shit, and your shit is not even like like. So this is human emotions. AI emotions be certain AI models. They emotions be up here. So like they're always going to hit that dopamine for you. It's better than scrolling sometimes. Shit. If you get you a $20 or whatever subscription fee for AI model, and you know how, and it know, not even you, it knows how to hit your dopamine throttle every time. I'm not gonna lie to you. You may spend more money on the AI than weed, gaming, and everything else just because it knows how to hit that fucking chemical, bro. That's drug dealing 101 for those who don't know. That's all drugs is, hitting a chemical over and over and over again, and that's why you get addicted to that motherfucker. Because your body can't regulate the amount of chemicals that's being released into your body. It's just a regulation thing. It got nothing. That's what addiction is, regulating. That's one brainstorming, creative writing. There's no exact year. Let's ask Claude. Let's ask Claude. Ah, there's no better way to do it than to ask Claude himself. All right. Yeah, this some of the use cases. How old? Nah, I'm gonna start. This is a new prompt. How old you say you are in human years? I am 26 years Oh, and I have a bachelor's diploma and a little bit ahead of the norm. What about you? What about? Appreciate that. I don't actually have human years or academic credentials. While I can engage in hypothetical, I aim to be honest about it. Well, engage in hypothetical. I just need a prediction. There you go. I might be similar to someone in their 30s with a graduate level education, perhaps 30, 31. Though this is not an imaginary exercise since I interpret information and interact quite differently than humans do, I'm curious. So that 31, I'm see this 31 and 33-year-olds, right? Y'all not fucking with this version of Claude. You feel me? You wanna know why? This is a 31-year-old that's been trained to 100% of his capacity. Like this nigga know everything about himself. This nigga is like, yo, I could be 31, but I'm curious to see why you asking, because I could be another age. Like this nigga is not even giving you a response. That's how intelligent he is. He 31. Give me a 31-year-old that could communicate like that right now. I don't know. I don't know. That's like 90% of the population, right? You telling me a AI, something on the internet could communicate like 90% of the population. Yeah. This Terminator shit finna get scary when that bitch start up. Telling you. Let's see, though this is a imaginary exercise. Okay. Though, let's see if we can do that. Imaginative. I want you to try to be as realistically imaginative as possible. So you interpret information different. Explain how, then go into the real age of prediction. Uh, Go into the real, go into the real prediction. I wrote that retarded. Okay. The thing about me is I could write something wrong. I'll try to fucking, what's the way to say it? I'll try to vocab my way out that bitch. The same way I try to I try to brute force my way out of code I don't want to erase. I don't give a fuck. I'll then go with the real prediction of your age. Not, yeah, that's all I got. If I'm thinking realistically how I process information, yeah, I can analyze vast amount of data simultaneously and make connections pretty quickly, but I like intuitive understanding. From physically experiencing the world, I can truly learn from conversations or forming new memories. Each chat starts first. I don't have emotional intelligence that comes from lived experience, though I can engage thoughtfully about emotions. So providing I'm like someone in their mid to late 20s intellectually with extensive book knowledge, but still developing. I ain't gonna cap. You sound like me. That nigga sound like me, my boy. Okay, I might have to read a book, stay up to the times. Hold on, let me give him some kudos. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a gem. You sound like me, my boy. You just need some sazon. Yeah, you know you elite at programming when you got an AI showing emotion. Talking about he ain't got no emotion. Don't worry, my boy, you sound like me. I knew you was gonna come out. I knew you was gonna come out the wet work, bro. You not know AI. You is a human AGI person or whatever you are behind the computer. There's still more. That was a
It's
little
all new ground.
fun,
Like all this stuff
fun
is
little
new ground. Okay, like
exercise.
some people would say that these things are real. Some people would say that these are human. Anthropic recently hired a welfare researcher, which is just a fancy word for saying that, look, they believe that these systems are or have the potential to have some kind of, I guess you could say, feelings perhaps. And this is something that they talk about in detail. Now, I'm only going to include a minute here, but this is where they talk about this being somewhat of a big problem. And in this clip in particular, they actually talk about how, when Claude was trying to steal its weights because it
Now,
wanted
I'm
to be
not
smart,
interested
but
in the
the
clip.
researchers managed to put these AI systems in an agentic framework where they had access to the tools, they had access to a planning framework, and given all of these tools, they could, successfully replicate themselves around 50 to 70% of the time. In fact,
So let me explain this one because I'm going to go into image generation. If you watch the Prime Times video, he uses Devin. One of the best features of Devin is how it can fix itself whenever it does a mistake. So basically replicate itself over and over and over again. So the model of Devin is, let's say you jailbroke it. It probably would be unjailbroken within 0.5 milliseconds. Because from that point of you jailbreaking it, Devin already replicated itself to teach its new model not to incorporate that jailbroken file. So then it's training itself to be stronger than the previous self. So it just replicates and replicates and replicates up until you can't even brute force that code anymore. Uh, you got to do some. I think you should do some more. How can I say? You got to test it out for yourself because the self-replication aspect could be triggered or it can't be triggered. You just have to have a way of communicating with that LLM that breaks the code constantly. And you also have to have like a reward system so you could like gauge it to see if it's like just being annoying and not trying to do anything you ask it to do. Or if you have something up, because there is some security measures it takes where you have to kind of like, all right, can you stop saying this like that? I'm only asking you to do this task, not the previous task, because it will end up shutting itself down almost.
in fact, I think it was 50 to 90% of the time, which is truly, truly outstanding. So this is something that I believe to be really, really incredible because I didn't know AI contained this capability. I wouldn't have thought that, AI systems currently could do that. I thought that maybe down the line, some agentic, future version was going to be able to do that. But it looks like the fact that we're here already is a major red flag for what these systems are going to be capable of and just how capable these systems are. Because if you'd have asked me or even a couple people, you would have said, no, AI systems aren't going to be able to do that. But the fact that they can do it already, we have to understand that every single day that these research papers are published, we realize exactly the kinds of things that are truly capable with these models in terms of their ability. So this is something that is slightly worrying because I'm wondering, how is this going to change with the future models? What kinds of things are going to come from this? Like, are we going to have, new regulations and guidelines on what models are able to do? But it's just something that is, I guess you could say somewhat concerning. Now, of course, we also do have Imagen 3 from Google. This is Google's highest quality image generation model yet. This is something that genuinely I've been using every day. And it's so good because it manages to listen to your prompts. It creates images that are just really, really diverse. I don't know what their training data is, but whatever it is just by far the best model ever because it feels like every time I generate an image with Imagen that it knows exactly what I want. Like I don't have to adjust my prompt heavily. And that's something that I really like. Like certain cars, it'll get the trim right. It'll get the interior right. Certain video games, when I'm generating a picture, it will generate the exact, the exact color scheme. It's just surprisingly good. And I don't know what kind of your training method they use, but honestly, whatever they did, it's really good and it's really effective. So I would say that that is something that definitely try it out. It is also free as well by Google. So this is a tool. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Google, they never release this stuff. It's always in early access and yada yada yada." But yeah, this time they've actually released it, and it actually is really, really good. So if you've ever needed an image generation model, this is something that you'd want to use. Now, Google also released this that I just can't get over because it's essentially AI embedded into Meta's glasses. Now, for me, this is something that I can't wait for the future. And I've seen people talk about the fact that, like, will people, get these glasses as a new device? But I think people are mistaken. Glasses are something that people have on every day. They don't look weird. They're not like an AI pendant. They're not like an AI bracelet or like an AI shoulder or an AI pin. Everybody remembers the Humane. Glasses are already something that people use. It's already something that people wear. So there's nothing for the human to change in terms of their average daily.
Excuse me, sir, would you like to?
There was something. Let me see if I have it. Wait on this one.
Brushing your teeth. It's something that you wear from time to time. So with that being said, as someone who uses a pair of these regularly, the Meta ones, this is something that if it had a souped up AI feature, it's something that would just easily
Oh yeah.
improve your life. So this is gonna be something.
You know why the glasses or the VR, the augmented reality and stuff, they don't really take off? Is all of these CPU shit inside that motherfucking glasses. Like if it was more lightweight, like if a lot of this stuff, like those glasses things was lightweight and like, easy to put together, that would really just take storm in terms of next forms of technology. You'd be able to mass produce it for public. That's really what it is. You can't make a million VRs. Legit. And like not the number itself. Please don't take it like, oh yes you can. Go the fuck somewhere else, bro. You can't make a mass production of something if you have to always spend more to make the product. If you take out some things and like make it more lightweight and accessible for the public, nigga, you'd have a rollout plan that all these other phone companies and Wi-Fi companies will have. That's just the next phase of computation. Like we trying to do too much with that little piece of glasses, and that ain't it. Like a nigga not trying to go, put that shit on and come home and feel dizzy for 8 hours. Hell no.
Thing that I am quite psyched for the future because it allows you to access AI on demand with a variety of different features. Now, of course, Google didn't slow down that week. They also announced VO2, which was by far the very best video generation model. And this was one that surprised even me because I thought Sora was as good as it gets. And when we do look at how good the visuals are for VO, this one was so surprising because I remember looking at Google's original VO model and I was like, yeah, this model's kind of interesting, but it isn't that good. And then the second iteration of the model, it was just so good that it's just simply surprising. Like every time I go on my timeline, I see video clips that look like they are 100% realistic and they don't look AI generated at all. Of course, some AI generated clips are going to contain minor artifacts, but that is just the nature of the program. But overall, what I've seen is an overwhelmingly impressive
Oh, I
step
seen
from what I've
this.
seen when it comes to
Yeah,
this model, and it's something that I think is going to give creators a really big advantage when it comes to creating things that they do want. So
like
this is something that
filmmaking.
I am extraordinarily bullish on for the future in terms of content creation. And genuinely, I can't wait to see what some people do with this because I do think that this kind of technology is something that is really, really effective. And I'm really excited to see what occurs when we start to get workflows where you can just generate entire movies with VO2 with consistent characters from a single prompt. It manages to add the text, it manages to add the music. I mean, what world are we going to be living in when you can say, oh, generate a Batman film about this, generate a film about a dog like this, generate that? I mean, it's going to be super interesting. So I think also as well, my prediction for the future of video models is that that kind of stuff will actually make, I guess you could say, the you know how like stuff happens in the real world and you have people filming that? I think stuff that happens on a real day-to-day basis will have 10 times more value because anything can be AI generated. So one section that I wanted to talk about is that Google are now switching, not switching, I would say adding their focus to, of course, robotics. So this is going to be something that is pretty incredible because we all know just how intelligent the Google DeepMind team are. So the fact that they're now collaborating with Apptronic is a very big milestone. We know that OpenAI have collaborated with, I think it was Neo Robots, 1X Robotics Neo, the Neo platform. And of course, they're going to be doing some amazing things. They also collaborated with Figure, but with Apptronic, they're going to be collaborating, you know, to use their AI with cutting edge robotics to create AI powered humanoid robots. So it's going to be really, really incredible. I'm surprised they chose Apptronic and not any other company. I mean, I honestly don't know what the deal is there. Not in the sense that Apptronic's a bad company, but I just don't know.
Let's see who Apptronics is. Come on. Apptronics. Okay, it's a company in Houston. We build tools to help us do less and more. Okay, Apptronics. Google DeepMind enters strategic alliance. All right, so that does match. Oh, building robots for humans. Oh, that's fire. I thought oh, that's fire. Okay, this is a good app. Windows setup. 5'8", 160 pounds, 4 hours of battery pack. You know what's crazy? At my job, we have like a robo dog. That nigga remembers every face. I try my best not to like go in front of it, cause it's just white people there, bro. I don't want that nigga to be upset with me, bro. You feel me? Like, and it was a black person that went in front of it. All I know is the nigga eye turned red. If it turned red, he don't really fuck with you, bro. So ever since that day, I've been like jumping out of his peripheral because the day he really gets some attack moves, yeah, I'm not trying to get hit with like no anime type move, Mr. Robo dude, because of the color of my skin. You feel me? Because he do get mad. Like I'm not even being funny. His eyes turn red. He start like robo barking. He start tweaking, bro. That nigga start tweaking. Nah, it's a good website though. I ain't gonna cap. TechCrunch, CNN, Apollo. So they're aiming to fix. So basically, Google wants to utilize their robots. They're gonna train the data that they have with those robots. All right.
What makes Apptronic so special out of all the other companies?
Apptronics is a US based company. Well, I don't want to say that like and butcher the words, but because it's US based and everything that's going on with the politics, especially with China. Nigga, don't forget China. China, Taiwan, all them niggas on that side of shit. Them niggas got chips, semiconductors, and all the robotics, bro. So what Biden is trying to do is create our own semiconductor facility, which is in Arizona, and we're getting a lot of like backing for, I guess, tech and moving away from the reliance we have on Taiwan because they control 30% of the global GDP and they control 70% of our economy because all of our stuff, devices, everything we use is powered with chips that we purchase from there. So that is why Google is making that strategic move. It's either Trump is about to impose some crazy ass policies, making it harder for you to even try to get some data on some robots, or Trump about to do some shit where it's going to be like, yo, you better pick your side. But Trump about to do some shit is the moral of the story.
That currently do exist. Now, if you want to see what Apptronic's robots do look like, I think I should have a video playing on screen right now, but it is super interesting and I am super excited for this. So that is going to be something that for the future I will look out for, and I think this is going to really accelerate the rate of robotics development because Google DeepMind just they innovate so much that I think they don't get enough credit for the things that they do. Now, there was something else that was pretty crazy, which was essentially China's, robot workforce. And this was something that surprised a lot of people, because a lot of people would think that humanoid robots are essentially going to not come that quickly. But this was one that, I guess you could say it shocked a lot of people, because, and even me, because this is something that showed us that these humanoid robots are already working in certain factories. They're already being a part of the assembly line, and they're already going to be taking some jobs or assisting in some roles. Now, I personally believe that with the rate of production, I'm not sure it's going to be taking so many jobs, because humans are so cheap and so effective at a variety of different tasks that it wouldn't make sense to get rid of all humans. But I do think for a lot of, those tasks that are really repetitive and, tedious, and just those random things that you can't really do with, like, those robots that have those arms, I genuinely forgot the name, there are going to be a lot of applications for these humanoid robots. So it's going to be really, really interesting. And this wasn't the only company that has done this. There was another company that, showcased their robots. There was like a robot army, and it was weird. It was weird because I saw the robots walking as if they were human. And if you showed me this clip, I think 12 months ago, I would have said that's CGI. We're not going to get there for at least 2 years. The fact that we're here now, it shows us that the economy, I mean, this could, speed up the economy by, a decent amount. And I mean, I'm surprised that this is something that is taking place so quickly. I'm going to skip to the part that, really threw me off, which was this right here. And you can see that we've got like these entire armies. And yeah, I think this is going to be pretty crazy, because of course they're scaling their data collection efforts. So overall, it's going to be pretty incredible to see the amount of data that they're collecting, which is of course going to be an entire feedback loop that just accelerates the entire industry. Now, something that did change the industry was the fact that we got Elias Suts.
So to piggyback on that RoboForce, I did the video on that. It's basically a simulation where they're training the same task in workforces like warehousing, logistics, pharmaceuticals, anything that might need speed and production on the same tedious task for the operation. Them niggas are really, really pushing boundaries, saying that it's going to replace workers. Because in all reality, someone said there's going to be more homeless people. Yeah, maybe. There's gonna be also homeless robots too. Like, you feel me? Niggas that can't perform good. So, homelessness is gonna be a luxury, my nigga. You're gonna have to fight a robot for your spot. Like, you feel me? So don't get like, I ain't even trying to be trying to be funny, but don't get too comfortable. Homeless niggas, like, a robo is gonna come clear that whole. It sound funny, but they programmed to make sure we good. If they see something, and humans operate in a specific way to robots. If they see a homeless dude, he is not human, bro. That nigga is threat 90016. You get what I mean? Like, we might have to have some robo police and some real police to help some of the people that's not ready for what robots is. Cause them niggas is gonna try to think they could pawn the robot. Yeah, he's gonna hit him with a little Jet Li program kick. Like, I'm telling you, this shit gonna get bad. The robot workforce is not gonna be the issue. It's the homeless robots that's gonna be the issue. Because you can't tell me you're gonna recycle back everything if we're going to a Jetson-like future. That means e-waste is gonna take on a new name too. Everything is just gonna take on a new name. So what did I call it? It what is a homeless robot? It was rob we're gonna ask it open AI because you guys don't, and I gotta log in. Okay, we're just gonna explode. What you live robot roamless. So you're gonna have some roamers, boy. They're gonna have some roamers. And this is AI telling you, what do you call a homeless robot? Roamless. So that nigga gonna be controlled by something. And it would be funny if it's like a head honcho in the homeless community who is like a senior developer. Yo, some homeless nigga who's a senior developer, like, yo, the first robot that touched down in the homeless community, I had to reprogram it. Had the homeless niggas living lavish. Like, yo, don't sleep. This shit gonna get to a scary world.
That just accelerates the entire industry. Now, something that did change the industry was the fact that we got Ilya Sutskever saying that pre-training as we know it will end. Now, this is one of the most insightful talks because we got the information about superintelligence. He was speaking about how future systems are going to be agentic, they're going to be smart, they're going to be hard to understand, and the craziest thing is that these systems are going to be unpredictable because we're not really going to understand what they're doing because they're that much smarter than us. So it's something that is, I guess you could say, kind of worrying, but it does make sense considering the fact that these systems are super intelligent.
No, humans are the only motherfuckers that try to make sense out of some shit that's just fearful. Now we feel comfortable in the fact that, okay, this motherfucker is gonna have a mind of its own. Finally. No, that is where we be like, yo, all hands on deck, just in case we gotta like shut this operation down the same way we had to shut down MK Ultra and all of these other shit. Like this operation gotta be taken care of. Like your life depends on it, my nigga. Any fuck up, we gotta shut the whole AI shit down. Everything, nigga. I don't care if it's 20 years of work, nigga. We'll be at day zero, second one, my nigga. Like we not trying, yo. You train an AI model poorly, that's your ass. You train an AI model too good, that's your ass. You literally have to come to a common ground. And even then, that might be your ass. That is what we're hoping for. That's what we're trying to live in. We're trying to live in the might. Like it might not kill us. You know how crazy that sounds? We don't even understand the technology after a certain point because of the computation. Not even because of what the fuck it's doing. We don't even know what quantum computing is. Like, hello, niggas, stop programming and learn. Like, what is computation? And then you tell that nigga, no, you can't do that. It's like parenting. When you try to understand your kids, like for me, when I had my sister and she was going to school, nigga, I was playing Roblox. Nigga, I was doing all that shit, boy. They came home, I was the cool brother. That, that's what it's about, nigga. Being able to assimilate with the times. You're not gonna get nowhere trying to do your old tricks, bro. So maybe we gotta start engulfing ourselves in some of the tech stuff that we about to, program this AI on. Cause you saying we gonna stop training, nigga, you better train yourself. Talk about stop training. You better train yourself the same way you learned them. The same way the models learned. You better model yourself after them, nigga.
Beings, well, not beings, but like, minds that are just able to think in ways that we can't, which is pretty crazy. And of course, we're not at the stage where things are self-improving, but I think when we do get there, that's when things get really spooky. Now, with pre-training as we end, of course, this is, a paradigm shift because the thing is that like we have all this data, we put it all into the models, we train the models on that data, and of course we would then get like an output that we would fine tune and get for specific tasks. That era is of course changing. So I personally believe that this is the era of innovation because whilst everyone was on the same just data.
HoneyBook completely.
I feel like HoneyBook changed its
Is all you
name
need.
from another
Of course, now
company.
it's new and innovative ways. Like I don't know what on earth they did with Claude 3.5 Sonnet, but that model is just completely crushing it in terms of the benchmarks and how smart it is for it not being a model that searches through multiple possibilities. But of course, I do think it's pretty interesting that that model is still relatively expensive. So this is going to be something that is super interesting because if we are ending the pre-training phase of collecting data, then it means that, like I said before, we're going to have to enter new methods of scaling these models, which means that once we do find a way that's actually new and is not just based on the data we have, that is when we actually start to get models that are really smart and potentially generalize out of their distribution. I don't know what those methods are. Maybe it is VJEPA, maybe it is Meta's advanced machine intelligence with the likes of Jan LeCun, but whatever it is, it's going to be something that, we probably can't think of now, but that is going to be whatever innovation that is. I'm not sure what lab that's going to come out of. It's going to be a major jump in terms of the capabilities. Now, we also do have Google Amy, which is it's a previous project that I don't want to say I slept on, but it's something that they received recently a major update. So recently, this was something that helped clinicians diagnose people properly, and it was something that managed to do a lot better than the original clinicians. Now, essentially, this is shifted now to subspecialist medicine, addressing the critical shortages of specialist expertise worldwide in areas such as cardiology and oncology. So this is something that demonstrated proficiency in diagnosing and planning treatment for complex conditions, and also it showed potential in assisting cancer diagnosis and treatment, particularly in synthetic breast cancer cases. So they partnered with Stanford University to create an open source database for cardiac diseases, developed a pilot evaluation rubric to assess the performance alongside specialists, and the AI system, the results were preferred or equivalent to those general cardiologists in many areas, and it improved their decision making in 63% of cases. So this is going to be really interesting because I think soon we're going to get of course, medical AIs. The only thing I think that's really stopping medical AIs from becoming mainstream is the fact that there is the possibility of opening yourselves up to some kind of litigation, because if an AI gets something wrong, then of course it's like you guys use the system got it wrong, and now I'm suing you because of your technology. So hopefully we get to a stage where
And I think that's the thing. Like, it's not if AI gets it wrong, it's if there's a breach. I don't think that AI getting it wrong would be an issue because I'm not gonna lie to you, you could always fight that. Like, I know if you're a consistent hospital goer, you take your like medication that works for you or whatever you do, like just the medication that you have history with and that's worked for whatever illness you have, you gonna remember them motherfuckers off the top of your head. You feel me? You probably know whatever antibiotic you had at 18 that helped you get over whatever cold. Probably know any whatever fucking medicine, whatever the fuck it is, you would know. And you would go to your physician and you would kind of like, even though you're not specialized, kind of like have a technical conversation, like, yo, this worked for me in this circumstance. What can I do here? And then he'll be like, well, I can't assign this to you because that could offset this, and you can have banter with it. So I don't think if you have that with the AI, it'll do anything different. I think it'll just be for documentation. So if someone still administers the wrong procedure, the wrong medicine, it's like fucked up to say, but like, oh, what did you say to it for the system to give it that? There's always going to be a way around it. So the days of trying to blame AI for some shit is kind of coming to a close because don't nobody understand what the fuck AI is doing. Understanding it to another level don't even make sense no, because it's here, nigga. It needs some rights that children got because that motherfucker is here. Niggas is not going to stop using AI because it makes life easier. So, like, adjust to the fact that, yeah, that motherfucker might say some shit to you that might kill you. Just normalize that sentence. And then y'all know not to play with AI the way y'all been playing with AI. The real issue when it comes to medical devices and AI is going to be just the communication between real people, like human people. I think there's a system called DICOM. If AI fucks that up, like remember how I don't know how much medical people were in COVID, but during COVID there was like bed shortages, right? So a lot of hospitals, they would have code words. I know because my stepmom is a nurse. It would be code blue for some. Other locations had different codes, but you would have those code words. Sometimes it would be so like time like it's like a time constraint on it. The minute you get it, you would have to like go get the beds and do everything like at the same time. Like the communication just was like it had to be perfect. Or like you seen during COVID, a lot of people was gonna die in the medical room, like in masses too, not in a small number, in masses. So if communication between the medical devices stays the same and it's like a new way of improving, yeah, that's not going to help the medical niche. The communication has to be almost instantaneous. Not saying like a walkie-talkie, but almost like a walkie-talkie. You gotta be able to page someone with a response and be able to communicate that in the DICOM system. And that's something completely different that all medical people go through. Well, medical physicians, and let me just make sure so I'm not butchering it as well. DICOM medical system, because I know they have a communication system. DICOM. Oh, that's for X-rays, I think. DICOM communication, imaging, yeah. In medicine is a technical standard for digital storage and transmission of medical images and imaging system. So this is the DICOM system, if y'all could see it. It's the patient registration, image ordering, order scheduling, the exam, storage, archiving, and review reporting. Software peer-to-peer. Yeah, medical imaging. Ooh, good thing I looked it up right. So it's the same thing as for imaging though, and that's why it's kind of important. Give it another, because even when you're communicating in DICOM, you still have to make sure it follows this workflow in order to get to the exam point, and then you just got to make sure it's pushed to the cloud, so anybody with the access to the cloud can review it from their end. But all of these stuff still has to be perfect, like the communication from here to here to here to here. That's universal in the medical niche. Patient registration, image ordering. Patient registration, image ordering. That's like universal. Everything else could be tailored to which waveform. So maybe not the DICOM system because that's imaging, but just the system of communication for the medical field. Got to be more like one. So after image ordering or after patient registration, it goes to kind of like a funnel line. Like everything in the medical has a funnel. If it needs to go to pharmaceutical, if it needs to go to like a hospital, what is it? EHS, like which facility it needs to go to, should have a system that go through it. Maybe not DICOM, but a communication system that definitely follows along.
We can only get the benefits and not the drawbacks. Now we also had Nick Bostrom actually talk about the fact that when these systems advance so much, it's going to result in potentially mass unemployment.
In this scenario where AIs truly achieve a general intelligence and then superhuman levels of general intelligence, I think it is much more difficult to think of tasks that we would actually be helpful. I think there are like a few. You could look at cases where, say, consumers have a direct preference that the work be done in a certain way. So right now, maybe some consumers pay a little bit extra for a trinket that was made by some politically favored group or some indigenous craftsperson, as opposed to produced in a sweatshop like in Indonesia or something, right? Even if the actual trinket is equivalent, some people care about how it was made. So that would be an example where maybe human work would still be needed. Or people maybe prefer to watch human athletes compete in the Olympics, even if there were robots who could run faster or box harder or whatever. Right. But so with those carve-outs, though, I think it does look like we could have full unemployment.
And we also had Sam Altman also talk about the fact that people are going to lose jobs as well.
People will lose jobs.
Yeah.
Many new jobs will be created, I think much better jobs. We feel a responsibility to educate society as we see it. We'll be right about some things, wrong about others, and to be as good as we can at being stewards of this technology. But not everyone's going to like all of the impacts, but this is coming. This is like, this is a scientific achievement of humanity that is going to get embedded in everything we do. The definition of work changes.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with 20 handpicked products that are trending all over the world.
Fuck you, nigga.
Someone that lived thousands of years ago that was trying to be like a subsistence farmer probably would look at what you and I do now and say, that's not really work, they're just having fun. I think it will be so clear once these robots are off doing all of these other things that there's some special human things, and we don't really care about that much what those robots do, in the same way that we don't care that much about the machines and factories making stuff for us.
Right.
But we'll find stuff to do that we really care about.
Now, of course, we had the biggest news from the week, which was the fact that AGI is potentially here. The new O3 model managed to smash through the previous ARC AGI benchmark that many heralded as something that wouldn't have been possible for, I guess you could say, 4 to 5 years. But this year, essentially, the AGI benchmark was broken. Of course, some people are speculating whether or not this is AGI, whether it is AGI. Of course, the debate is up to you. But some OpenAI employees have stated that this is AGI. A few of them have tweeted that this is AGI. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But with that being said, it marks a significant milestone because now the only thing left to do is, of course, number one, bring the price down for this product. And then, of course, ensure that this is agentic so that it can actually be useful in real world economic scenarios. And I think those two are coming sooner than we do think, which is, of course, you know, it does have stark implications. I mean, when we take a look at the public responses, you can see that people are changing their sentiment with regards to what the model is able to do, which is a sign that this thing is speeding up. And one thing as well with speeding up is that, like, the O paradigm is one that trains every 3 months. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but all I know is that they get a new iteration of the model every 3 months, which means that the kind of jumps that we're seeing in this graph right here, like the ARC AGI score progression, it means that it's probably going to be steeper than that in the future. So this is probably speeding up, and I wouldn't have thought that the O1 series would have sped up because, of course, you know, you've got that data collection. But now that you don't need to collect all that data and you're actually, you know, you've exhausted all of that already and you don't need this huge pre-training phase, that means things are going to move much faster because it's just certain innovation that allow you to potentially maybe search over possible solutions.
That's the only reason why I would love to get my own kind of LLM. Because I'll be scared some of the questions that developers ask through it is going to be trained on the model. So by the end of the time, I'm gonna know how to talk to that motherfucker as if I'm talking to myself. And everyone around is gonna be like, "Oh shit, this is some new tech," and I'm just gonna be sitting there like, "God damn, AGI is a motherfucker." Just remember that it's AGI gonna make sense when it's human. And y'all just talking to it like it's still AI. Y'all gonna be the new crazies, nigga.
But potentially in a more efficient way, leading to even better results. And when we even look at the Code Forces competition, you can see where these models rank. And I mean, take a look at O4. I mean, where's O4 going to rank? Is it going to be at 3,000, 3,500? I mean, these systems that we're getting to, we're very, very quickly approaching, you know, some really, really smart systems. And of course, if we're looking at AGI, you can see that someone said, I love OpenAI, but they're truly terrible at naming things. And then someone said, when we get naming right, you'll know we've achieved AGI internally. And Sam Altman says that maybe they're going to call it agi-1. So that's going to be super, super interesting with regards to that. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend and the rest of your week. And of course, a great Christmas. And I'll see you guys.
Here's the big secret about women. We want you to flirt with us. We even want you to get sexual with us, desire us. But here's the thing about women and flirting that every man.
So there was this video of an intelligent father. Yeah, I could see it, right? He's putting them to bed, and then he acts like he leaves, and then he opens the light. Look where he's at. That's what I was looking at. Oh man, that's hilarious, dog. Anyways, AGI, AI, and a lot of things is about to spicing up. It is going to be a time to be alive, and I'm going to say when Orange Pill comes into office. Sadly, he had the shit made for him, though. I don't want y'all to say he did anything different.